Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucs, powered by Chris Gates Fitness. I'm your host, Anthony Donardo. With me, we have, of course, Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday.
There you go. Look at you with the North Shore 9 mug.
That's right. Only took me like 30 years to get it, but I did. And you can get yours as well. And at the North Shore 9 shop in the description here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good mug.
Actually, it's a good mug.
But no, I'm doing pretty good. It was an event-packed weekend.
It was for you, actually. Yeah, you're all over the place. Touring the country, going to sporting events on one leg.
On one leg, yeah.
Looking like a real pirate out there.
Ridiculous. I can barely walk, like barely. When I have a walking boot on, it works okay. And I can hobble around a little bit better. But without that thing, it's rough going. My foot right now is all kind of weird colors.
Yeah. Spraining ankles are fun.
Yeah.
Well, either way, though, you did.
Outside that, though, it was a good weekend.
Let's say you did attend Paul Skenes Day live in person, and they won.
Yep. No, it was a good ball game yesterday. Paul Skenes pitched amazingly. O'Neill Cruz homered. Got to see Nick Yorke's first major league home run. So
there you go.
That was pretty neat. No, it was a great game.
Cool. Yeah, good stuff. Good. So before we go any further, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 Make It contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today, get on the action. BetOnline, the game starts here. So speaking of Paul Skenes, attending that game, he goes 5 scoreless, gives up 2 hits, a hit by pitch, no walks, 9 strikeouts. ERA on the season now, 199. Jim, we had our debate. You brought on the Jim Analytics on NS9 Live. We broke down why Paul Skenes should get Rookie of the Year over Jackson Merrill. That was basically a week and a half ago, if not 2 weeks ago. Since then, Paul Skenes has just been even more dominant. It's funny because I do keep going back when, Tyler was on in place of you, and he and I were talking about how do you finish Paul Skenes' season? Do you kind of lay off? And the reason for it was, well, he's probably not winning Rookie of the Year. Jackson Merrill's kind of running away with this. The velocity's, down a little bit. He's given up a little bit of earned runs here and whatever. He's looking like an actual human being. Still good stuff, but, the writers are typically biased to the hitters. And he's actually been more dominant since that time frame. And again, he's now down to a 1.99 ERA. All you keep hearing is, well, he's the only rookie, or he's like the one of whatever many rookies since 1776 when this country was formed.
Right.
Like that's the type of season that Paul Skenes is having. You got to witness it in person too. That was awesome. Had to be awesome. But I just can't fathom and can't get over how good he is already.
He's the best pitcher I've ever seen. Like he's the best pitcher I've ever seen. And I'm trying to say, like, if I needed a pitcher, right? Good morning. If I needed a pitcher to start a game, and it's like you gave me the choices of Paul Skenes right now, prime Jacob deGrom, prime Justin Verlander versus prime Pedro Martinez, right? Because I think those are probably the 3 Those are probably your 3 other options. Like, if you could make a case to say he's not the best pitcher I've ever seen, it's one of those 3 guys. Like, he's neck and neck with them right now. Prime Pedro may be the one guy I would take over him, but that's it. And we're talking
And this is
Pedro.
all the assumption that like this isn't prime Paul Skenes.
Yeah, this is
his rookie year. This is the first 22 starts he's ever made in professional baseball.
Yep.
Well, Major League Baseball.
Almost pro ball. Like, how many minor league innings did he put up? 30?
I know, right?
Like,
I put out a stat yesterday just to kind of put, also like comparison, because we keep hearing he's the only rookie. So it's like, can we try to find something to quantify him with actual other pitchers, not just rookies? Okay, so like, what about the prime Jacob deGroms and the prime Verlanders, And so like I went here, I want to use like the past decade, starting pitchers who the first 22 starts of the season had a sub 199 ERA. And in the last 10 years, like Paul Skenes is the 8th starting pitcher to do that. And none of them are rookies, obviously, right? But you had Ryu, Greinke, deGrom, Alcantara, Verlander, Kershaw, Cease, and now Paul Skenes.
Like, you're talking about like Cy Young winners. I mean, he's doing what Cy Young winners would do. Yeah.
Again, think about 8 in the last decade. That means one person per season, about some season none, but one person per season has a 199 ERA or lower to start off their season. That's it. It's like you're saying, like, yeah, that person's probably getting Cy Young votes easily if he's not the actual winner.
Yeah. I mean, and I think Skenes does get Cy Young votes. I don't see how you couldn't put him on your Cy Young ballot if you're voting for a Cy Young winner. I mean, the innings aren't going to be there like along with the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And like Chris Sale's probably winning NL Cy Young. But there's an argument to be made that Paul Skenes could be the NL Cy Young Award winner. And if he's not number 1, he's number 2. That there's definitely an argument to be made there. And so, yeah, I mean, and again, I'm not diminishing anyone else's rookie season. It's like Jackson Merrill and Jackson Scherzer are both putting together really good rookie seasons. They're both going to be really good ball players. Like, I have a really good feeling about both of those guys. But neither of them neither of them have been as impressive or good, quite frankly. Like, they haven't been as good as Paul Skenes. You're talking about a 22-year-old starting pitcher who has an ERA under 2. That doesn't happen ever. It just doesn't happen.
Well, correct. Like it doesn't.
Yeah. So when we're going back and forth, and it's funny because when I did that PowerPoint, I think Paul Skenes was like plus 600 or so to win Rookie of the Year. Now Paul Skenes is the favorite to win Rookie of the Year after yesterday. So it's interesting to see how it's moved so much over the last month or so. Like, Skenes was running away with it, then it turned to Merrill running away with it. Now it's a close race when it comes to the betting lines, but yeah, it's Paul Skenes is to lose right now according to Vegas.
Yeah. Like, another thing I put out there. So I mentioned how, right, there's been 8 pitchers now. Paul Skenes is the 8th pitcher to have a sub 2 ERA through 22 starts. So I'm like, but hey, out of curiosity, Jackson Merrill had an 833 OPS. How many times has this done in the past decade? Well, Jim, let me tell you something. 160 times now in the past decade, a hitter in their first 150 games had an 833 OPS or higher. That's kind of loaded. 2 things here. 160 compared to 8. Big difference. The other caveat is it even qualified for the Jackson Merrill stat. You had to actually even play 150 games. I'm sure there's plenty who have higher than that. They only had 145 games.
Mm-hmm.
But Again, just to compare it to what Jackson Merrill's doing, right? His game plays and Paul Skenes, 160 times someone played 150 games in the season or more and had an 833 OPS. Okay. And like you're saying, like I'm not trying to also like that's impressive. Jackson Merrill's young. What he's doing, he's having a very impressive year. That's good. It's just what I'm trying to do is make you all understand, which I'm pretty sure if you're watching the show you do. But again, like to the writers and everyone else out there, even Padres fans, like what Paul Skenes is doing though doesn't happen. It's never happened, not, especially not since 1920, and it rarely happens for prime players that are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, like he's doing what the very best pitchers in baseball do, like once in their career. That's what he's doing right now in his rookie season.
Right. Right. Jacob deGrom did it once.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what he's doing. And I feel like as far as like the discourse around this has shifted a bit in the last month or so too, like back to Skenes. Like there was like a week or so where Jackson Merrill got like all his flowers. But I feel like it's shifted back. The Padres fans are pretty much the only people I think still in like the Jackson Merrill is the rookie of the year. I think they're really the only ones left in that camp. And they're really their only argument is that he plays every day. Like that's what when you push back on it, it's like that's what they say. Well, he plays every day. Well, that not just because you play every day doesn't mean you're more valuable than anyone else. Like there are plenty of pitchers who you would rather have than an everyday player. The fact that if you offered the Padres Paul Skenes for Jackson Merrill right now and they wouldn't blink an eye and they would just say, yes, please do this, gives you the answer to your question on which player is more valuable. I mean, it's plain and simple. Because if that trade was offered up to the Padres right now, they would take it in less than a heartbeat.
Right.
That tells you really all you need to know, right? which player is more valuable. But no, I feel like that. I feel like the rest of the country though, like the national people, they're pretty much on board with like you can't not give Rookie of the Year to Paul Skenes with what he's doing.
That's where I'm at. And it's funny, like you said this, and it just I think it's such an impactful statement. But it certainly resonated in my head. If not Paul Skenes this year, when can a starting pitcher ever win again? And I think that's the best way to sum it up. You want to have the argument and every day, and again, like I was leaning towards that also. I mean, Paul Skenes doesn't have the innings per se, like he started later because Jackson Merrill started on day one. I can understand the argument and such, but again, like he's stronger now than he was even at that point in time. And he has a 1.99 ERA. One more start left. That'll determine, I think, a lot, actually. It's weird to say, but it probably will. But it's like if he can't win Rookie of the Year, having a historic season that he's having, then you're cooked. You're toast. Never again should you start a starting pitcher on day one in hopes of getting Rookie of the Year for them, because Paul Skenes just showed that it can never happen. A pitcher can never win ever again. Because if you can't beat Paul Skenes' season, you have no shot. And no one can beat Paul Skenes' season. So yeah, that's just where I'm at. Like if not Paul Skenes, then never again could a starting pitcher ever win, unless it's just completely a trash field out there that no one's good at as far as like the hitters go.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, he's doing something that we've never seen a rookie do. Yeah, if he doesn't win, then who can?
And like it's more about, or just less about just Rookie of the Year stuff. Just Paul Skenes himself, watching that start yesterday, and you saw it in person. It's just so impressive how he goes about his business. Each start, how prepared he is, obviously, and just how many ways he finds to be good. Like the changeup yesterday. My God, Jim, talked about on the post game show, but like he threw it 8 times and got 7 swing and misses on it. 100% whiff rate.
Yeah, he was on yesterday. Like all of his pitches, he was working it. It was pretty cool to see. I was like right behind home plate too, so I had like a really good vantage point. There were a few changeups that he threw where it was just like ridiculous, unfair, impossible to hit that pitch. But he didn't allow a base runner to get past first base. Like that's how dominant he was. Like at no point did the Reds have anyone even in scoring position. He gave up a couple base runners and didn't let him get past first. Even in the first inning, leadoff single, never got past first. Strikeout. Next 3 hitters.
Yeah.
I mean, he just completely dominated that Reds lineup across the board, up and down.
And still, like the velocity being there, averaging 99 miles an hour on his 4-seam. 22 starts in the end of September. You know, I also, you said this earlier in the show. I didn't say it at that point in time, but to bring it back up, you know, who would you rather start? You said DeGrom, Prime Pedro, whatnot, you know, and it just reminds me of maybe end of May that I think internally, I don't think we said it on the show. We might have, but we had like a little discussion of if the playoffs were to be today and you're Derek Shelton, who would you start game 1? And I said Mitch Keller.
You did.
Man, do I sound like an idiot?
I'm pretty sure we did that on like an NS9 Live, and you said
Did
Mitch
we?
Keller. Yeah.
And I said Mitch because he's got the experience. I know Paul Skenes is good, but like it's still so young. I don't. If it were today, I don't know if I can trust Paul Skenes yet. I said at the end of the year, I might absolutely sound like an idiot by saying it, but today I'm going with Mitch Keller, and boy, was I wrong. And I say, and the reason I'm saying this too now is just because also, like, not because how talented, but again, you're seeing the preparation, you're seeing the maturity from Paul Skenes. This guy is every day like a seasoned vet in his rookie season.
And even just his approach is like a seasoned vet. Like not only is he just pitching really well from an execution standpoint, but you see time and time again where he changes game plans in the middle of a start. He makes adjustments. This thing's not working, so let's go with this. And the fact that he's got so many different pitches that he can rely on, where if one of them's off, then he's still got 4 more. 2 of them's off, then he's still got 3 more. If 3 of them's off, then he's still got 2 really good ones. So it just, I think that's what's kind of what kind of makes him the most impressive is just he can rely on so many different weapons on any given day. If they're all working, then like good luck. You're about to get no hit. Like that's pretty much what's happening. But like if one's not working, then he's got 4 other pitches he can rely on. If 2 like that's what it is. His command is very good for someone as young as he is because that's only going to get better. Like command is something like that. He's 22, just turned 23, I think. Like just turned 23. But this is his age 22 season. That command's gonna get better as he just gets more innings under his belt and
No, he
kind of
just turned 22, Jim. Yeah, May 29th.
Oh, yeah, he did just turn 22.
Right.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah.
Which also another thing, not to cut you off here, but the whole like Jackson Merrill's 21. Like, well, Paul Skenes is also 22. I know he's not 21 technically, but like he's also 22.
That's a good point. Good point. I was off there. Yeah, it's so impressive what he's doing at this age because you got to imagine that like this isn't it. Like this isn't his best. This is just like the first this is his first try. You know? And then in like this off season, you can go back and be like, you know what did I do wrong this season? What can I fix? Like he's gonna go through off seasons where he's gonna tweak things that need to be just a little bit better, and he's just gonna get. He can get better from this. That's what's wild.
Yep. So it's like in the chat here, bringing something up too. I want to kind of hit on that. not only is like game by game they're talking about he make adjustments and stuff, and like his first try, like he actually is like for the season doing things differently. I mean, for one, he got drafted. He already made some tweaks this offseason. He learned a whole new pitch, the splinker, which turns out to be the best damn pitch in baseball. Like, so again, like how you talk about, then, we talked about the change up from yesterday. That is something he's been incorporating a little bit more, so it's like he is this good, and yet he's still evolving. He's still evolving. He's still adding stuff to his arsenal. He's tweaking things to his arsenal. The arsenal's already so good. And I just go back to the video with him and Hannah Mears, and he just says, good luck. And like, man, like that's not the MO of Paul Skenes. Like that video is so impactful too, because like that is Paul Skenes. Good luck. I don't know how, and that's what Doug was talking about on the post game. I don't know how you go into a game to prepare for Paul Skenes, because he's going to out prepare you, and he has way too much in his arsenal that when you think oh, here's how I'm going to defeat Paul Skenes. No, it ain't. No, it's not. It's just incredible what he can do.
I think it's got to be so difficult. I've never faced a 100-mile-an-hour fastball or a 92-mile-an-hour slider or a 94-mile-per-hour splinker, right? Like these are pitches I've never seen before. But I can only imagine after someone who's faced, like high 80s fastballs and 75-mile-an-hour curveballs. Like as someone who's faced those pitches, I can't even imagine what it's like to be like, okay, well, I've got to be ready for the 100. I got to be ready for the heat. But then also he might take a little bit off of it where it just drops 5 inches. Oh, and then he might take a little bit more off of that where it drops another 5. And then he may throw a pitch that goes in the whole opposite direction that looks exactly like the other pitch. And it's just I don't know how you can hit him. Like he's that good. He's that good. It's just funny looking back now.
Yeah.
Like, remember when people were like, he doesn't have a good fastball. He's not going to be good.
The shape.
The shape of the fastball doesn't look good to me, right? Like that was
I forgot about those days.
Like that was a whole thing that people, oh, his fastball shape's not good. It's going to get hit.
No, man, that is hysterical now.
It never got hit ever. Like
how quickly did that whole thing died down? That's so funny because I've completely forgot about that until you just mentioned this. But he's going to be a bust. He's going to be a bust. The fastball shape is terrible. And this is like some truth to this. Like velocity is just a normal thing. Hitters can hit velocity. Now, of course, there's a point of how, to what level, right? But it's like, yeah, that's good. He throws hard, but that shape is terrible. Major league hitters are going to get all over that. And he has the best season ever for a rookie.
This is another thing too, Pitt City. This whole beginning of the year, we were warning people. We were like, "Hey, don't expect Paul Skenes to be as good as Jared Jones."
Right?
we were saying that because it's like that's not fair to Paul Skenes. And he just comes in and he's like, "I'm twice as good as that."
Yeah, Paul Skenes on his worst day is Jared Jones.
It's just crazy because not only like he was the most hyped pitching prospect the Pirates have ever had, and I mean you could say the most hyped pitching prospect since Steven Strasburg, and he just totally, completely. Not only did he live up to the expectations, he blew them away. Like no one would have like even his biggest advocates from like a pitching prospect standpoint would have expected this.
You can't expect the best ever. Like that can't be an expectation as a rookie. Yeah. Yeah, man. We're 25 minutes deep. That's like I said, I could just talk Paul Skenes forever. He's so damn good. We probably should adjust a little bit here before we start talking about prospects.
Yeah. Let's shift a bit.
Yeah. I guess just to touch up, right? Nick Yorke and Billy Cook did make their debuts they're up here now. It's been short stints, but we're now seeing them. I guess maybe just a quick thought on either.
Yeah. I guess let's start with Cook since we've seen him the most. Um, I think the first thing that pops out to me with Cook is that he can play some defense. Like especially in corner outfield, like he's looked really good in in the outfield so far. I mean, these are pretty impressive numbers he's put up. He's 5 defensive runs saved, Donardo.
I didn't see that.
5 defensive runs saved, and that's spread across the outfield, like 1 in left, 2 in center, 2 in right. He's been a very good defensive outfielder. He's 2 outs above average. The what he's been able to do in the outfield is impressive based off of just like what we've seen all of these other Pirates outfielders do throughout the year. So like that alone has been pretty valuable to the Pirates. He made a couple nice catches yesterday too in Cincinnati. Um so like defensively, he's looked really good. Offensively, that's where my worries are. And it's so small of a sample size. It's 35 plate appearances, but my first impression is that there are a couple holes in his swing. Like
Yeah.
there are reasons why, he didn't debut until he was 25. And it seems to be the fastball up seems to be difficult for him to handle. And then like when he does get behind in the count, he's not identifying and laying off those low and away off speed pitches and breaking balls, which is tough to do. I mean, for anyone who's just called up. So I mean, I get it. So, but it's just something to look at going forward. Like, or can he improve in those two aspects? He's been striking out 42.9% of the time in this short stint. He does
Right.
have some power, 2 homers, so you like to see that. So because of the power in the defense, like I want to see more of him because like those are 2 things that we need. Outfield defense and power. So like let's see as much of him as we can. But he's got to figure some things out at the plate to make it so that he has just more competitive at bats on a
Mhm.
regular basis.
100% with you. Again, so I didn't bother to look at like defensive stats because it's only been 11 games. Like, like the eye test matches, like he looks good out there. You put in those numbers, and it is small sample too. So like take that with a grain of salt. Things can normalize, but 5 defensive runs saved. He has 11 games under his belt. Holy hell! Like that kind of puts some impact there of like how good it actually has been. That's super impressive. But yeah, like yesterday's diving catch, it was just funny because I was like, that was the play Brian Reynolds couldn't make, basically, that we like laughed about. Like that was the one that Reynolds could not get to. And that was even like less lazier of a pop-up than the one that was given to Reynolds. So it's like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what good defense in left field looks like. And it's not just like Brian Reynolds too much. Again, he makes the plays that he can get to, which is the problem. He can't get to too many plays. Billy Cook yesterday shows that he could. But yeah, I guess my wrap up here is Billy Cook just reminds me so far of like mini Jack Sawinski. Now, yes, it is just 11 games, right? But like it is. It's okay. He has power. He strikes out a lot. Um, and relatively speaking, good defense. It's better than Jack Swinsky, I think, obviously. But like Jack Swinsky isn't like terrible out there. He was able to capably play center field like last year. I know. I'm saying like he is better, but at any rate here, this is exactly why I said get Billy Cook up in September. A lot of players have trouble with the high heat. That's why a lot of guys throw it, right? That's why you throw it up there, up top. But he can't lay off. And that's something that's, I don't know if that's going to be a problem long term, right? It could be. And that's why he's not going to be a good hitter. But it's like that same problem you had with O'Neill. And how does O'Neill adjust? By seeing it every day. Like it's not going to go back to the minors to see the not as good sliders. It's going to be the majors to see the really good sliders, and to start seeing that and adjusting, learning it. So like that's why I wanted to see Billy Cook earlier. And unfortunately, he's only going to have like 16 games under his belt going to next year. So the development's probably not all the way there yet. He's still probably have those struggles early on next year. But yeah, like so far, it's okay. It's okay. You're identifying and seeing why he's probably more of like a fourth outfielder than like, hey, here's your right fielder next year. But at least he's getting that start.
Yeah, I think he's like at this point, if you're looking at like a role for next year, Connor Joe, like he's next year's Connor Joe that you're hopefully not playing as much as Connor Joe
Right.
because you've got actual like starters at those positions. But yeah, like if he's your fourth out, you can do way worse for a fourth outfielder, I think. But he needs to tone down on the strikeouts a bit.
Oh yeah. All right. So let's jump over to Nick Yorke then.
Yeah, Nick Yorke's it was funny actually yesterday. So I was at the game with Josh from Bridge to Bucktober. And Nick Yorke, so he hits his first major league homer yesterday. But it was funny. We were talking about him like while he's up there, and Josh is like, what do you think about Nick Yorke? I was like, I like him so far. I was like, I don't know how much value he's going to provide if he's just mostly a singles hitter, and he's like, it depends. Like if you're a singles hitter and you're hitting 260, that's not good. But if you're a singles hitter and you're hitting 300, then we can work with that. And then he just hits a nuke, like just crushes one. So it was just funny the timing of it. But I think you've got to like the bat to ball skills so far. Like he seems like he's got a knack for at least just like finding the ball with his barrel. The strikeouts have been higher than they were in the minors, but they're not in a spot where it's concerning by any means. I guess that would be my one thing. Like I said, the homer yesterday, that's big because I think going into yesterday, he had the exact same batting average as he did his on base percentage, as he did his slugging percentage, right? Like he had drawn no walks, he had no extra base hits. So it's like, and again, it was a very small sample size at that point. I think it was 19 plate appearances. So yeah, again, another guy, like make sure he gets at least 5 more starts this season so that we can see him. I'm not sure if he's an everyday player. That's, like I said, still not sure. And I don't know exactly what his role is going to be, but I think there's something valuable in there. Again, someone who's kind of bounced around so far. He's played 2 games at second, a game at third, a game in left. There's a lot of value in just being able to bounce around like that, especially if you can hit a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, first impression, I think there might be something there.
Yeah, I guess I won't add on too much to that. That's basically everything with me. Again, it's also just very, very small sample. Like you're not going to take too much away, but first sight, yeah, he looks like a major leaguer. I'm not taking away this and saying, oh boy, he's got to go back down to the minors. A lot of seasoning. He is also just 22. Like he could also start in the minors next year. Like if we're not sure where the role is and they fill out, he could very well start there, and you'll be okay with it. Again, Billy Cook is definitely older. But yeah, good so far, good stuff in Yorke. And again, that home run yesterday showed like there is some power there. That's good to see because yeah, it was all singles.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
But what I want to say also to that was like defensively, like looks capable. He looked really good at third base also even. So like that was nice to see. Obviously we're talking about Billy Cook's defense. Nick Yorke had some good defensive plays also. So yeah. Again, I don't think we're gonna take too much away from them getting caught up this late into the season, but just early thoughts, things that you see. It doesn't look terrible for either of them. More challenging for Cook so far, for sure. But yeah, I think it's about what you probably would have expected for both of them. Maybe a little more strikeouts for Cook.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Cool. All right, time to bring on Murph Dog.
Yeah. Before we do though, let me tell you guys about so sponsor of our show here, Chris Gates Fitness. He's got a new coaching service that's designed specifically for sports fans just like you. It's the online fitness training camp. Training camp is a low-cost monthly fitness membership program designed specifically for sports fans. And at this time of the year, it's the perfect program to help you stay consistent and reach your health and fitness goals amidst tailgating, baseball season, and now football season. If you're ready to elevate your health and fitness goals and do it with a group of like-minded people looking to support and encourage each other, you've got to check out this group. I know there's a few listeners in there. I'm in there. Doug's in there. It's been great. I've been in there for almost 2 months now, down 13 pounds since the start of August because of this training camp. So yeah, it's been good for me. Customized monthly workout programs will help you build muscle, burn fat, and feel more athletic. And access to live Q&As with Chris, exclusive community support, and more. It'll help you hold you accountable and work you towards your goals. Training camp members also compete in fitness challenges each month, as well as sports challenges like weekly football pick'em in the fall, where Chris gives out free prizes like home gym equipment, supplements, free one-on-one coaching calls, and more. And if you join this week and use the code Starbucks, you'll get 80% off your first month. 50% off your first month. Sorry about that. Don't miss out. So visit chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp. Again, chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp. Promo code Starbucks for 50% off your first month and start your journey today.
There you have it. Cool. Good stuff. So, you know what that means then? Anthony Murphy, welcome back to the show. The very last week of minor league baseball, it has ended. You go get some sleep.
Yeah, finally get a little rest here.
But welcome back to the show. How's it going?
It's going, man. Going good. How you guys doing today?
Good. We're doing good. And actually, you know what, Donardo, I forgot to even tell you this. I'm gonna let you handle this segment with Anthony. I've got to give my dog some medicine at like a specific time, so I'll be back.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
You go take care of that. But yeah, so fine, so cool. So Murphy, yeah, like I said, like it was the last week. It was just the Indianapolis team that was playing. Yeah, I guess typically we do like the 4 players, the 2 hitters, 2 pitchers, and we can still do that. You know, be a little bit different. There's just one team to talk about. But I guess like where do you want to go here first?
I do like you guys talked about like Yorke and Cook. Like if I could throw something in there. One thing that I noticed that you watch out too is you're talking about like the age and everything like that. But like Nick Yorke has actually had more plate appearances in the minors than Billy Cook has. Like Yorke was actually drafted like a whole year earlier. I would probably say that he's probably more ready to take like some sort of established role in the majors. Like he's probably the guy that's more likely, I'd say, like not to go back, like regardless of age and stuff like that, just because of like the experience factor. He was drafted like a whole year earlier, and he was drafted out of high school too. Cook was drafted out of college, so like I think you guys like hit it pretty good. Like we've seen pretty much exactly what like I kind of expected out of them. Like Cook maybe struggled to put the ball in play a little bit, but like there's a little power there, there's some speed there, and the defense was really the thing that like immediately stood out with him there. The arm looked like it was going to play out pretty good. I haven't checked to see like any kind of numbers and stuff like that as far as like arm grade and stuff like that, but I have a feeling that's going to grade out pretty well, and that's pretty exciting. You have someone like that, and then obviously you have O'Neal Cruz out there in center too with his arm. You got to think I mean, outfield defense has been a little bit of a sour spot out there for a little bit of time, and you can kind of see it maybe changing now at this point. So,
yep. And I want to say maybe 3 or 4 games ago, excuse me, it was where Cook really showed off that arm in right field also. Yeah. So yeah, like you can tell like defensively, whether it's the glove, the arm, he certainly has it. And I guess just a touch on that also. Age-wise, of course, like there's nothing really more I feel like for Cook to like learn in the minors and stuff or whatever. But also I think the thing is, my point of view, how I'm going to approach this season is you already have Gonzalez, you have IKF, you probably want to get like an actual shortstop. I would probably feel better if Nick Yorke is on the depth chart of you're going to start in the minors because we've improved the the middle infield more, if that makes sense.
Let me toss this out here though. because like I know I've noticed this is gaining steam. We've seen a certain somebody taking grounders elsewhere.
Yes.
How does a Yorke, Cruz, and anybody else outfield sound with like Billy Cook as the fourth guy there?
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Don't like it? Is that because you're anti?
That's where I'm at. That's why I say, like, with my mentality, I want to achieve higher.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
To have Billy,
if that right fielder is like a bigger name, multi-year free agent signing, does that make it a little easier to go into it with it like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So that's all.
Because like my biggest thing with it is because like you have Nick Yorke, and I think Nick Yorke has the potential to be a starter at the major league level. It's finding a fit for him, because also I think he has the most value probably just playing second. And what do you feel about Nick Gonzalez now after a full season? Is he also heading towards that everyday path, or is he maybe not? And then is he someone that you feel comfortable with moving around the infield kind of thing at this point?
Yeah, I don't know so far. Like, I'm comfortable with him being second as long as other positions are upgraded. Like, the way I put it is, like, if he's like your 7th, 8th best hitter and not your 4th or 5th, then I'm okay with that.
That's fair.
So that's all. But anywho, hey, Jim's back.
I'm back.
Doggy happy?
No, I mean I gotta take her in to do some testing at the vet, and she needed a medicine like a specific time this morning. So yeah, sorry about that.
Well, we didn't really get into any prospects. So
yeah, I had you in my earbuds. I could hear what was going on.
Let's for sure do that. So yeah, where do you want to start?
Mike Burrows. He had I guess if there's a way you can finish the season, that's probably how you want to finish the season for him. Got up to 91 pitches, struck out 10. Fastball had kind of been like, it felt like a thing for him as far as like getting some swings and miss with. He got like 9 on 21 swings. So started using the curveball a little bit more. The changeup looked really good. I've kind of just like glanced over the start. I haven't had a chance to like watch like every pitch of it yet, but yeah, that was probably the best I've seen him since this year, since coming back. So
yeah, ties a career high in strikeouts per game, right? 10.
Yep.
What was his pitch count there too? Because I mean, something I've noticed just with Burrows, I feel like they've been super careful with him. Like he hasn't been going deep into games.
I think he threw 91. I think it was 91
okay.
he threw yesterday. So yeah. I kind of get the feeling that, because like you said, they've been, which like isn't out of the norm for them, with like the minor league guys coming back from Tommy John to kind of, especially someone of like Burrows' status. But I think that kind of hints that like we won't see him again. Like, this is your last game. We're gonna let you go a little bit deeper, and so just let it loose here, and it looked good. So
yeah, that was going to be my other question. That was going to be my other question. Is there 6 games left and there's only 5 starting pitchers in the rotation? So are you going to have a bullpen game, or do you maybe give Burrows like give him 1 game? That was kind of what I was hoping they would do.
So like the earliest he'd be able to pitch then would be Saturday then. So, and I imagine Skenes pitched Sunday, so he's probably, with the way that they've been working him, he's not going to pitch until Saturday, maybe not even until the finale thing. So
give him
and then also Burrow's coming back from Tommy John, and he's thrown the most pitches he's thrown. Probably in like if we had another week of the minor league season, I probably wouldn't expect him to pitch again until the following Sunday, anyways, just to give his arm that extra day. So I guess the only way I see him pitching is if it's like the season finale on Sunday, probably. So
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe they give him Sunday, maybe they don't, but yeah.
And even then, it's probably going to be the season finale is probably going to be like whoever starts is going to be 2-3 innings, and then probably just everyone in your bullpen. Then at that point,
Probably.
So
yeah.
So I don't feel like it's if he just threw 91 pitches, I don't feel like it's worth it just to let him close the season on this high note. And he knows like his arm is like it's back, or it's as close to back as he's close to what he was pre Tommy John. Now he can go into a full off season and build towards next year.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, I mean it was a short week. Indy was the only team playing this week. I guess so Burrow's definitely getting his last start under his belt. Offensively, what not too many prospects in Indy anymore. So I mean, Endy was there this week, and we haven't really talked about Endy and how his week went. Let's spend some time doing that, I guess.
It went well until it didn't go well, and so and you could see like even going back to Altoona, you can see the rust, him trying to shake the rust off, and you could start to see the progress starting to come. Back-to-back days, he hit that double, and then he hit the home run, and then I think the day after the home runs when he left the game early with the quote unquote arm fatigue. The throw, like he had 2 throwing errors that game after I think it was like 2 pitches after the second throwing error. That's when they came out and they pulled him from the game. They're saying extra precaution and stuff like that, which I think if you wanted to be extra precautious, I think the plan was to not let him see the field anyways this year. So if you're being extra precautious, then you probably wouldn't have put him on the field in the first place. But
yeah. That's where I'm at. Like, just let him DH these last couple weeks. I mean, why did you have to put him out in the field? Because if it turns out
2 weeks wasn't going to do anything.
If it turns out that this is more than just fatigue and he messed something up again, and it's because they rushed him back onto the field for 2 meaningless minor league weeks at the end of a year, that's bad. That's bad.
I mean, it sounds like they escaped one of those instances already over the weekend with the Jared Jones thing, which had me pretty upset on Twitter. And I tried not to get
sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't usually get like that, I feel like, but I was a little. Yeah, that had me a little hot with the whole how that all played out, and so like they escaped it once. Like I guess you don't always get lucky 2 times with it, and they seem to be pushing their luck with it. So,
but to your point originally, like it was good until it was bad. He had 4 games, 16 plate appearances. He homered, drove in 4 runs, hit 333.
You could see the bat starting to come around a little bit in with Indianapolis. It looked rough at times in Altoona, and his first live action in that kind of upper level. So you kind of expect it. Kind of anytime I put on a game where he was there, I kind of went into it with 0 expectations. It was just the number that was important was, he's facing live pitching. He's getting plate appearances and stuff like that. But you saw him starting to prove right up till when he left.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Well, because he's someone that they need to rely on him. I think we're all like I'm ready to just anoint Joey Bart as next year's he's your starting catcher, right? Just based on what we've seen.
Yeah.
But Endy would make for a really capable backup. If we've seen this year, you need a lot of catchers. You need more than 2. You need more than 3. You need more than 4. Grant Cook had to play a couple games this year, and he's like the number 5 guy, maybe even number 6.
I wouldn't even put him there.
Yeah, he just happened to be there, right?
He was in Indianapolis.
So, yeah. So you're gonna have to use a bunch of catchers, and Endy being healthy and him being your number 2 is certainly valuable. Yeah, so hopefully he's fine. I wouldn't mess with too much stuff. Like I don't know if winter ball's on the table for him. Probably is. I would imagine.
That's where he got hurt last year.
Yeah, but you definitely want to watch that arm. You want to make sure he's not doing anything that he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But winter ball would make sense from an at-bat stand, like get some at-bats.
Yeah. I guess it just kind of depends on if it was just fatigue and stuff like that on there. I guess you could send him out there with like the stipulation is like, yeah, you're only DHing.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, at any rate, we'll find out. But yeah, I'm worried about him, and I know you said he escaped. I'm still worried about Jared Jones. They talked great. They talked about Oviedo last year too.
Yeah.
Not trying to go down that dark path, but
I've already been down
nervous. But I guess who's next?
Zhong Zhang had had a pretty solid week in Indianapolis, and I guess he was kind of a surprise call up in a sense. I kind of wanted to see him get sent up to Indianapolis just because he was like, he's already on the 40-man, and you talk about like the shortstop position and stuff like that. And I guess with O'Neal Cruz off of short, you could probably make a case that Chang is the best shortstop on the 40-man roster right now, defensively.
Mm-hmm.
At least defensively. The
Williams
hitting hasn't been
too. Yeah.
The hitting hasn't been great. It wasn't great in Altoona. They gave him the push up to Indianapolis, and he had a really, really good week up there. 6 for 13, scored a bunch of runs, had a double, walked 4 times, only struck out twice, made some really good defensive plays. Like it's just 1 week, but it was a really good week and a little unexpected based off of like how he struggled a little bit in Altoona. So that was good to see from him.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, he had a 3-hit game yesterday too.
Mm-hmm.
So walks too, 5 walks, 4 walks. Yeah, I've got to say I wasn't impressed with his AA season. I would even say that he's a candidate. He's a DFA candidate this offseason. I don't know if they'll do it or not, but like if the roster spot is needed, I could see it happening. There's a few other guys I'd rather take off before him, but like I think it's certainly a possibility.
I think he's someone you could probably, if that's the route you want to go and you don't want him on the 40-man roster, you can absolutely trade him for something that's not on the 40-man roster to clear up the space there. I don't think he's someone that you would have to DFA. I mean, even at that point, you could probably get someone who's going to be in the complex next year or something like that. And we've kind of seen them work some magic with some complex guys before too. So
yeah,
I don't see them moving on from him yet. But if that's the route they want to go, I don't think you have to DFA him because I think you can get something for him.
That's true. There's somebody who would take him off your hands. I mean, he's a top 30 prospect. Yeah. I mean, top 15, top 20, kind of depending on what list you're looking at too. So
I think if you put him in the right situation or something like that, I think I haven't seen it recently, but like I know there's a little bit like a platoon split with him. I think if you put him in the right situation, maybe to where he's only facing righties, and then with his defense, you can find some major league value with him at some point or something like that. He's still like a young, like 22 or something like that. So
what you're saying is a Alika Williams, Chang, shortstop platoon.
Let's go for it. Think of that defense.
It's all Ben Charrington needed to hear.
There you go.
Rosati doomed us all.
I was like, what's Alika Williams' righty lefty splits? You know what? We may be cooking here.
We're cooking with something here.
133 weighted runs created plus for Alika Williams versus lefties.
All right, we're cooking here.
We're cooking.
Sorry, Connor Falefa, your time is up.
That's in 24 at bats.
So very large
Love that sample size.
He actually 3 doubles and 2 triples in 24 at bats against lefties. Alika Williams. That's kind of wild.
I didn't think we'd head towards a Alika Williams platoon segment of this show.
You know what? Count me in. I'm all in on those 24 at bats.
Oh boy. Anywho.
Yeah.
Well, no more minor leagues. We should be when are we hearing about Arizona Fall League stuff? Should that be this week?
I'm hoping we hear it to. I mean, because there's been a couple players who we already know for sure are going. Like Shim is going to be going for the now Marlins.
Yeah.
A couple other prospects. So like I have a feeling people know what the rosters are. They just haven't released it yet. I'm hoping today. So that is something that me and Nola can talk about tonight.
Do you have any scoops? Do you know what Pirates are going yet?
I mean, I could probably figure it out, but like,
I feel like Chang's an obvious candidate, right?
But then I feel like when Chang was the guy that I brought up, and all that Chang, Brannigan. There's some guys who like. I feel like Brandon Bideau. He's a like Australian minor league pitcher. He's been on the injured list since July, and he pitched 1 game with India. He just got promoted to Indianapolis, and I feel like the only reason you bring a guy back for 1 game like that is you're also gearing him up for something else. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So I think my common sense source would say that Bideau is going to be one of the guys.
Yeah. I think they do have some. Don't they have some weird rule though? And I know they just changed the roster rules a bit ago, but there used to be something where like you could only take 1 non-American player. I know that was. I think that was the rule at one point in time, because they didn't want to take away from like the winter leagues that other countries have. So, but that may have changed. So,
but hopefully soon. They already announced the schedule and the dates and everything like that. The only thing that they're waiting on now is just the rosters, which
cool.
Well, make sure you check out your guys' podcast. Hopefully it does get announced today and we can listen to you guys talk about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, because I'm gonna be in Florida next week, so we're not gonna have a show next week. So the next show we're gonna have is, I think, by the time the fall league starts. So
makes sense.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for hopping on here. Yeah, like I said, podcast tomorrow, Bucs on Deck. Make sure you join the Bucs on Deck Substack. You can find Murphy on Twitter __Murph88. I think I got that right.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you check all that stuff out. Great stuff over there.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
No, thanks
as
for
always,
coming on.
Enjoy your time with me every Monday morning.
I appreciate you.
All right.
See you, man.
Okie dokie, Jim. So there's 6 games left of this entire season. The first one's the Brewers, and then the last home games also, and then the Yankees in New York. So let's talk about this Brewers series. Yeah, they're the first place team. They're pretty good. Why this also kind of matters is the Pirates need to win some games here. They want to at least tie last year's record. So, there's, I guess, some meaning in this if you want to take it that way for the Pirates. So, winning, they got a tough task. They got to do it against the Brewers and the Yankees if they want to be, air quotes, better than last year. So, what do you think about this upcoming series? Because the pitching, the Brewers, like the strength isn't so much the starting pitching, so that's okay. But they have Peralta. They have Myers that they'll be facing, the top 2 starting pitchers. And, they're not going to have Jones or Keller or Skenes for Pittsburgh. So the pitching lineups don't really match up more or less for the Brewers series. But, yeah, so what are your first thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, this will probably be Myers and Peralta's final starts before the postseason, the Brewers have already wrapped up the NL Central. They've clinched the division. They're still technically like they can possibly sneak into one of those first round buys, but it would take a whole lot of help. And I don't see that happening. They're 3 games back of Philadelphia. They're 4 games back, 3.5 games back of the Dodgers. So they're pretty much locked into that 3 seed. So there's not a whole lot that Milwaukee's playing for at this point. So we may see, we may see guys get rest who wouldn't normally. We may see, some weirder bullpen usage, to give their high leverage guys some time off. We may see Peralta and Myers really only go like 4 or 5 innings. Like, there's no reason really to push them. This is like their final tune-up before the postseason. So I think there's some dynamics in play here that like we could just kind of see the Brewers not like really be the Brewers this series, like just kind of not take it easy this last week, but make sure their goal right now should just be make sure you're good to go for round 1. Like, there's no need to push anything. You're the 3 seed, whether you go 5-1 or 1-5 in these last 6 games that they have. So I think, like Myers, Peralta, those are your first 2 pitchers that you're going up against in this series. But like, if I'm the Brewers, I'm not pitching those guys to their limits here. Like, I'm giving them 75, 80 pitches and saying, all right, good season, go get ready for the postseason, So there's that dynamic to it. You may, like I said, you may see some kind of vet days off sprinkled in throughout the week, which could be a good thing for the Pirates. Yeah, Falter, Ortiz, Keller is what it looks like the Pirates are lined up to do. So I mean, you got a chance of winning some games, but yeah, I would just keep in mind, like I said, they're not playing really for anything at this point. So it could be one of those series where we're not up against their best.
Right. And you're right. Okay, my bad. I said we won't have Keller this time. He will be Thursday starter. So my bad. But yeah, I guess the benefit, right? Like, you look at this and say, well, it's 2 tough teams. It's the Yankees and the Brewers. But the benefit is the time of the year they're playing them. They probably aren't going max out with, like you're saying, like the Brewers. It's pretty much locked up. Like, there's not so much that they're playing for. They're in the playoffs. They're in this spot where they're at. Most likely they're going to be there. So yeah, it's like, here's your final tune-up. Here's your final outing. Let's get in there. Here's 4 innings, maybe 5, like you're talking about. But what I'll say to that is, but the bullpens are strength also. So that might not be so advantageous. Like, oh, you got Myers out in 4 innings, but okay, we got to face the Brewers bullpen for the rest. And that might not go so well.
Might not.
Right. So it's like, yeah, that's kind of a benefit, but also maybe not for the Pirates. We'll find out. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I don't really know. Again, if you talk about making predictions here, that's why I'm saying, like, I think the Pirates might take 1 out too. I think they might take it 1 out too. Now they have Falter going, they have Luis Ortiz going, and then they have Mitch Keller. Right. Mitch Keller hasn't been looking too good lately, but it is Mitch Keller. He's a dog. We know he has it in him. Luis Ortiz has looked pretty good. He's been up and down though, but he's looked pretty good. And so is Bailey Falter. Bailey Falter had an excellent start last time out. So like the pitching, I feel like, favors the Pirates on that side in that sense. Somewhat, maybe it's kind of matched evenly to some degree here. But like, as far as the hitting goes, the Pirates haven't found the bats still. Maybe there's 1 hot streak left in them. We'll find out. But yeah, Savali, Peralta. It's
yeah, I think the thing I'm most looking for this series is, like Mitch Keller, you had a really good season. You had 3 starts that you blew up in. 3 starts. The rest of your other starts were all pretty good for the most part. You had 3 starts that blew up, and that's kind of what has messed up your season stats. So go out there and finish the season strong. Like that's what I want to see out of this series is let's get a good last start from Mitch Keller so that we can, feel good about the way he finished. And I don't know, we're not really going to feel good about the way he finished just with the way that August and especially September has gone. But yeah, let's
at least
finish on a good note.
And that's going to be the last home game of 2024. Like for the fans, not that means too much, but it does. It's Mitch Keller. Yeah, the end didn't go well, but this is still part of the end. At least you can say your very last game. You know what? I am Mitch Keller. I'm back. Give the fans watching the last Pirates home game something to be excited for. Maybe a W. For, as I said here, for all 500 fans that are watching. I don't know, though. The Pirates are doing fan appreciation. They're going to buy you guys to get cheaper tickets. Maybe we'll have more people out there.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
One thing also to watch out for, the Reds fired their manager after their final home game. So
they did.
Maybe something to keep in mind. You can see the Pirates, they don't want to pay for that extra hotel room in New York. New York's an expensive city. I don't know if anybody here has visited New York, but yeah, it's 3 nights in a New York hotel room. Might be worth cutting your manager the series early. Who knows?
Right? Plus food.
Bob
Dunning's not too cheap.
Bob Dunning's like, I need those, that $2,000-$3,000 back.
If you're going to do it anyways, yeah. That's money you could be saving.
Save 3 nights in a New York hotel.
Right. But yeah, David Bell fired, hired 1 year earlier, seen playoffs, seen 500 seasons. He's gone. Something to chew on.
Which makes Derek Shelton the longest tenured manager in the National League Central.
Obviously.
Because of all the accomplishments he's had.
Obviously. All right. Anyways, I guess we can wrap this up and get out of here. But yeah, what's your actual final prediction for the Brewer series?
I'm gonna say we take 1.
Okay. Fair enough. So this team is not sniffing last year's record.
No. Unfortunately.
All right. Yeah, and then the Yankees after that.
You could go to New York and win too. It's possible.
I'm just here because it's the last week. And I mean, I am sad with that. Like, it's the last week of Pirates baseball. But I'm really here for Paul Skenes' next start.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking forward for this week.
One more start.
Yep. All right. Let's get out of here then. As always, everyone, appreciate you all watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff here. We have a whole off season upcoming. So yeah, one last week, 6 more post-game shows powered by Manny Brothers coming up. This is our last Starbucs powered by Chris Gates Fitness of the year. Of course, next week will be like the wrap up of the year. It's crazy. It's all winding down, but we do have a really, really big off season coming up. A lot of stuff in store. Our fanboys we'll have next month as well. The voting will open up on Monday. So I guess with that said, we'll see you guys tomorrow after game 1.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucs.